There's no evidence.
It doesn't match up. Like the ID doesn't match up to who was posting on those dates. It's clearly fake. But go find the original ones. There are Reddit threads that contain all the original ones, and our first video and the recap that we just did, we post them on the screen. If you read those, like, you have to remember, this is pre-PCA. This is only 2 weeks after the crime. This is before we knew half of what we know now.
Yeah.
Like less than half. We knew barely anything at that point in time. We knew, like,
somebody laid out a very workable theory before the PCA was out with connecting evidence.
Details that could not be known pre-PCA.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So those facts make it makes it almost an impossibility for me to think whoever wrote that was not connected in some way.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
There's a lot of people that think that one of the people involved wrote that. I think that is a possibility. I really do. I don't want to discount that, because sociopaths need that. They want the attention. Okay. So if
the notoriety,
if 4 people were involved and one of them's a true psychopath, okay, a true psychopath, complete disconnection from emotions and any sort of bond with human beings in general, I could see them reaching out and doing that. I could totally see that.
Yeah, because they want the credit. They want the credit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then if it's one of the Davids, David 1, certain things were said in front of everybody in that fight. So it would be no thing to come out and be like, oh yeah, Ethan was saying something about his shriveled manhood. So you could put that out there, you know what I mean, to try and throw people off like it's not you.
Yeah.
But I found all this evidence super interesting, you guys, because I tried to pull the best pieces of what I felt like supported this further that we didn't talk about in the last one. There's a lot of interesting things there.
But what's weird to me is that the guy who paid David 2, the bushy eyebrow guy that paid David 2 that morning, he's not even in the same fraternity.
He's not. Yep. So,
which is interesting.
It is.
I don't know what that could mean if the 4chan theory was true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, according to the 4chan theory, one of those 4 people was a woman, was a girl. So, clearly if it's a girl, then they're not in Sigma Chi. So if it's 4 people,
and then the third guy could not be in Sigma Chi, meaning
correct.
Only these 2 guys from Sigma Chi know.
Yep.
And the rest don't.
Correct.
And those 2 guys are gone. They are not at Sigma Chi anymore.
Yeah. And for anyone that didn't know that, they are no longer in that school anymore. After this happened, they're gone. Social media lockdown, and not even just lockdown, literally deleted. Like all their posts went through and deleted them one by one, and they're gone. So I say this every video. I have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is guilty or innocent. I am going to judge and critique the investigation to the absolute best that I possibly can, because I believe in our justice system in that way. And I believe that it needs to be scrutinized. And I believe that it is our job to scrutinize it. And I believe scrutinizing it makes it safer for everybody and makes it a better system overall. So for me, I think that it's my civil duty to do that, to create a safer civilization for everyone. So yeah. Bryan Kohberger could be involved in this. He could be guilty. And I'm okay with that. I would be super happy about that. He might not be guilty. I don't know. But we're going to keep investigating.
Yeah. And I also find it really difficult to explain a car like Bryan Kohberger's in the area, his DNA supposedly being on the knife sheath. Like, those are things that are really hard to explain. Like, I understand why people think he's guilty. I 100% get it. Like, I'm not.
I thought he was guilty when I first read through the PCA. The only thing that
Yeah.
changed it is really the cell phone. And then I started looking into everything. Then I
And
started learning about DNA. And then I was like, whoa.
yeah, when you find out that the cell phone tower pings specifically are total BS, that was really when we started going down that rabbit hole and being like, well, really, there's the possibility every single element of that PCA is BS. There's a possibility here because there are holes and they are not giving supporting evidence that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. But we're curious what you think. We're going to keep digging into this, you guys, and we'll come at it from a different angle next time we talk about it. I hope that we talked about some new information that you didn't know about in here, and I want to know what you think about it. All right, friends. How is everybody doing? I'm going to post it one more time here. Oh, give people a chance to come on over. And hello, everybody. You got no sound? Can you hear me? You got it? I'm showing sound on my end. You guys got sound? Okay. Good. Is there a lot of people live right now? Lately, there's been a lot on Sundays. So let me see who's live. Yeah, we got a few people. Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody. We got Malia here, and we are going to be diving in after all that evidence. So, welcome everybody to the True Crime Talk Show, brought to you by Thought Riot Podcast. My name is Brendan.
I'm Malia. Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome to the show, everybody. So just to let you know, give you the rundown, if you enjoyed that last video where we went through some more supporting evidence around the 4chan frat boy theory, please hit that like button. When you hit that like button and leave a comment under the video, it really lets us know you guys like that content. And not only that, it does more for the podcast than you could know. You know, I know a lot of people out there sometimes feel bad if they can't support with monetary values like money, you know, give money, and that's okay. We don't ever want anybody to feel like you need to support us financially. That is not the goal here. It is built into YouTube that the ads and everything else help support the podcast. But the couple things you can do that are a huge deal, I mean, probably a bigger deal than supporting financially, is hitting that like button, hitting that thumbs up button, and leaving a comment under the video. I've been explaining what comments and likes do for the videos. And I've had a lot of people leave us comments saying, hey, I had no idea that it was that big of a deal. Like, it helped you guys that much. It really makes or breaks a video, the engagement. So please, if you have a couple seconds, we would appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button and left a comment under the video. But we'll get into it here. So we just went through the 4chan supporting evidence video and building a timeline, right? The first couple videos we went through, we did not ever build a timeline. We did not see if it made sense. We didn't see if it could even fit within the bounds of the crime from our knowledge. In my opinion, it sure seems like it can. You know, it just doesn't fit the current narrative of the 4 a.m. time frame. But I'm very curious to see the evidence that comes out that supports that 4 a.m. time frame for the crime.
I agree. I want to know the supporting evidence for the timeline.
We've been told that's it. But what says that's it? Because there's a few things out there that people lean on, and one of them is that Xana's TikTok was running. You know, for anybody that isn't a tech master, okay, isn't a network master, doesn't have a lot of experience. Look, if a phone's unlocked, somebody can have access to everything, okay? So the most important thing on your phone, this is a side note, the most important thing on your phone is to lock that home screen. Always make sure you have a lock on it. If you have the right kind of lock on it with the digit passcode, you don't even have to give that to police. They can't make you, okay? That's just without a warrant, right? I'm not saying that because we're like anti-police. I'm actually a huge supporter of police and 100% believe in police. But for our own personal safety, make sure you have that code on there. But if that phone is unlocked, okay, if that phone is unlocked, anybody can access that. Once you have TikTok on, it can sit there with a video on and replay and replay and replay and replay and replay. So just knowing that Xana had TikTok open, in my opinion, based off my experience in technology and networks, that just is not enough. That doesn't cut it for me. I want to know the breakdown, the cell phone data dump that they received from Xana's phone. I want to know what that says in the coding. I need to know if it was unlocked by her face at 4:05. I need to know if it was how it was unlocked.
If she walked around the house with it.
If she walked around the house with it, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
If it was just playing one video endlessly
over and over.
Or if there was somebody actually like, you know, pressing things like they're actually using it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, but anyways, long rant there. Going back to our original statement. So we broke down some supporting evidence of the 4chan theory, okay? I thought that some of this evidence was absolutely incredible, you guys.
Phil asked you a question.
Yeah, that's an important question. I want to answer that real quick. And hey, Phil, always love your input and comments. So are you asking for comments during lives, during premieres with the live chat, or comments on other posts that are not live? So what I was talking about with the comments is, you know, the comment section under a video, you can't see it on a live until the live is over. But the comment section under a video, either after a live is over or like the premiere that we just premiered, a comment down there is what adds to the viewership of that video. Great question, because a lot of people think that when I'm talking about a comment, I could be talking about this chat on the right hand side here, and it's not that. That doesn't help to get viewership for the video. It's only under the video in the comment section. So thank you for asking that. So likes and comments under a video are what do it. I don't know if one helps more than the other. If I had to guess, I would probably think comments because the engagement is more. It looks like we had AR hop in here. AR, Hayes, a convict's thoughts. Welcome everybody.
Yes, good to see you.
Yeah, welcome AR. We're super stoked to have a lot of the content creators that come in and stop by the chat and hang out with us for a while. Huge shout out to you guys and you AR. And if you get a chance, you guys check him out. He has a very interesting perspective into true crime. So I highly suggest it. But okay, going back to the the I'm sorry. I'm getting over a cold. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do read every single message. I actually reply to every single message. It's been a little bit harder lately. Some of the responses have been a little bit slower, but I have been responding to all, or a little bit shorter. I have been responding to all of them. But going into the timeline, I think the 4chan timeline works. And I wish it didn't. Like, I keep looking into this 4chan topic, you guys, just waiting for something not to make sense, okay? And when I'm looking into situations, when I'm investigating something, it's the same way I manage like money markets and things like that. I'm a total contrarian. No matter how I approach a situation, I approach it trying to prove it wrong, okay? And that usually validates the right decision for me. So when I'm looking at the 4chan theory, I'm going into this, the frat boy 4chan theory of the Idaho4. I'm looking into this, and I'm constantly trying to prove myself wrong. Like, what doesn't make sense here? What isn't adding up here? And I have a hard time picking things out that don't seem like they can fit.
Yeah, and when you add the additional weirdness of the university's involvement in this case, which is basically unheard of, this crime did not happen on campus. So the fact that Scott Green was so involved in the case, it adds more weirdness to it for
Yeah,
me personally.
I
Um,
agree with you.
it just I don't know, cause I feel like the motivations behind every decision before and after this crime have been aligned with money.
I look,
Like, that is the motivation.
it's not even this crime though. It's every crime. Literally every crime. You know, it's been a
What?
while since I've said this, but do you remember when I was saying I believe personally, and I don't have a statistic to back this up. So this is a very subjective statement, you guys, that I don't have evidence to back up. But I personally believe every crime where somebody dies, where a victim dies, it is 90% money and or drug related. I personally believe that. I
Mhm.
think that other 10% is in the moment, passion, crime of passion.
Yep.
But truthfully, I think 90% of major crimes like that are motivated by money or drugs, which, you know, drugs is money. But so when I'm looking at this, like exactly what you're saying, look, we talked about that statistic in the live. I don't know if you saw that part that I posted, but I posted in the live chat that statistic here. Hang on, I'll pull it up for you guys. Give me 1 second here. Hang on. Bam, right there. Whoa. Could so
That was weird.
Okay, here we go.
Yep. Don't you just press that?
There we go. According to Elite Daily, university donations received by Greek alumni are estimated to make up roughly 75% of all money donated to universities in total. Do you guys understand how much that is? Do you guys understand what's at stake here? And this is something I didn't talk about in this premiere, but we've talked about it in other premieres. So, did you guys know Sigma Chi is on their last leg nationally?
We've said this many times.
Yeah, I just didn't say it in this premiere, and we have double the subscribers now. So I don't know if everyone has watched the two 4chan videos that really started this theory off, but Sigma Chi.
Look look what you paused it on.
That's great. Sigma Chi is on their last leg nationally. What I mean by that is they have gotten in enough trouble in enough universities where they were told that if you have any more problems, you are going to be required to shut all your doors nationally. Required to shut all your doors nationally at every single university. That's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. Do you guys realize Sigma Chi is the #1 fraternity? #1 for the amount of students that are in college and the amount of money that's going through that fraternity on an annual basis. Then you take into account this 75%. 75% of all money donated to universities is from Greek alumni. I don't know about you, but that's massive to me. That is 100% the type of information you're looking for when you're worried about a bias.
Yeah, and you know, the interview room was on earlier, and Chris McDonough, he did a good job in that one. But it for him, like, so he was talking about, you know, how the trial has been pushed back to March of 2025 and like what is going on here? Like, why aren't we getting this show on the road? You're just giving the defense more time to, you know, build a better defense. I don't know what that argument is. That argument bothers me a little bit. I just don't agree with it. But he was talking about how like Judge is a Moscow native. And a lot of people in this town are. It's very connected, you know, like a lot of people have lived there their whole lives or they went to college there, you know.
Even Green is a native.
Because I heard an argument on a different channel, I can't remember where, that, well, you know, these victims weren't even from Moscow. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean their parents aren't interconnected and went to this university, or, you know, there's other alumni in their families, or I don't feel like them not being from Moscow is important.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that
once you go to that university, you're part of that family.
Yeah, I think that the connections are the most important part. Yeah, so I heard that Chris McDonough is literally talking about the same things that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, which is incredible, okay? And the reason why it's incredible, I don't mean because he has a bigger platform than us. I mean, if anybody watching us needs additional expert, you guys know how I feel about experts and the difference between learned knowledge and I don't necessarily believe in experts necessarily. It's about the amount of learned knowledge you have. But if somebody watching us feels like they need additional approval from somebody who has been in the law enforcement career, Chris McDonough is saying the same things.
Yeah, that this is alarming, that he's never seen it. You know, I don't remember how many cases it's been. It's like hundreds that he's investigated in Los Angeles as a homicide investigator for many, many years. He's a part of like the Cold Case Foundation. You know, he goes on Nancy Grace's show. He has
a lot of notoriety.
He has a lot of notoriety
and experience.
And his wife is also an investigative journalist. And they've done some digging and, you know, gotten some emails of Scott Green's, I heard, and they're alarmed. They're very alarmed. He said he's never seen a university be a part of a homicide investigation ever.
And they're concerned with the way the investigation was done. He's talking about how did I, of all people, weeks later find a glove outside that hadn't been gathered? Whether it was mistakenly an investigator's or not, like that should have never happened. That should have never happened.
And them throwing that jacket back in the ground.
I don't know how Chris feels about Bryan Kohberger, whether he's innocent or guilty.
Oh, he really believes he's guilty.
He really believes. Okay, yeah. Well, here's the thing, you guys.
That's not what matters.
No, it's not what matters. And this is what we say all the time is I don't want anybody to come on our platform and feel like I'm trying to advocate for Bryan Kohberger's innocence. Look, Bryan Kohberger is an afterthought right now, okay? I'm concerned with justice, and I'm concerned with the safety of our citizens that are out in the public in Idaho right now. And the only way that we can guarantee their safety and hold our civic duties of judging this investigation in our judicial system in the area is by looking and digging into that investigation, which is what we're doing. And we see problems because look, if Bryan Kohberger's guilty and this investigation flunked and as they mess this up, guess what? Now you have somebody that can do a quadruple homicide out and about in general public again, whether it's in your area or Pennsylvania, like people are at risk. Now, there is another side of that coin too, right? Where they messed it up so bad that Bryan Kohberger isn't actually the guilty one, that somebody else is. So now we have a fifth victim, and we have people in the general civilization that's going to be at risk. There are problems here. Massive problems.
He told Bill Thompson to stop hanging out with people who are writing books about his case because it's of Chris McDonough's mindset that Scott Green wrote that book and included the COVID part of it just to get around the gag order. And he's like, how did he get around the gag order and was able to write this book considering he was involved in the investigation? Like, that makes no sense.
I hear you.
I agree. It doesn't make any sense. And you know what's funny? He didn't know that Chief Fry is retiring. And he's like, I bet you anything Chief Fry is going to retire soon and he's going to write a book. And then people started going through the chat. Oh my gosh, he is retiring. He's going to run for sheriff. And he's like, what's going to happen then? Like, is he going to be held to this gag order? Like, the families can't even talk about what they know.
Dude, that is a major sign when people start jumping ship. And this idea where people think that this is a strong case, it blows my mind, because if you're out there and you believe Bryan Kohberger is guilty, then you need to get on board with seeing the problems in this investigation, because if you truly believe he's guilty, then you need to be highlighting the problems in this case so you don't have a guilty man get out.
Well, Chris McDonough said it. The public always solves these cases. Like, the police, yes, they collect all of the things, they send them to the lab, they put it all together, but it's usually the public sending in tips that solves cases, like sending in their security camera footage, reporting seeing somebody at a gas station. Like, it's all these people coming together, the public coming together and sending in tips and saying what they heard, what they saw, what evidence they have, that really solves cases. The cops absolutely cannot do it on their own. So if there's major flaws here in the investigation, how can we be 100% sure Bryan Kohberger is the guy? So do we need to be on the lookout for other alternatives?
I agree with you, and it's scary. It's terrifying.
It's not that we want to be out here accusing people. Like, there's a reason we don't come out here and just say the people involved in the 4chan theories and names and put them on blast.
We intentionally keep last names out when we're talking about it, because for the most part, everyone's names that's involved in it is pretty basic, right? David, how many Davids are in the US?
How many Davids are in Moscow?
Even Saeed, how many Saeeds are in the US? Like, a lot. I've known a lot, okay? And it's because we don't want to come out here and put people on blast. But let's be real here. Like, this is our public space, okay? It is not the police. They do not own it. It is not the politicians. It is not the judges. It is ours. It is ours. Okay. And if we aren't the ones that are able to verify and criticize the success or working police force in investigations and keeping our public safe, who's going to do it for us? Who's going to do it for us?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, our law enforcement has been adopted into politics, okay? There's no way around it. Every single police officer has been impacted by political campaigns and the running of new politicians in offices. That makes this situation scary, right? That makes
Mhm.
it scary. There's a disconnect there. And when you look at the politics of the university, you have Scott Green, you guys, Scott Green, okay, taking part in the police war room, not once, but twice daily updates, once in person, every morning.
So weird.
It is not okay.
It's not normal.
It's not that it's not normal. It's not okay. You are not a sworn officer. What are you doing? You have bias. You have buy-in. You have financial liability in this, which is more reason why you should have never, ever, ever been in any of those war rooms. Never.
You know, I
And
have
then write a book?
I have read half of his book. Unfortunately, I haven't got to the other half of it yet, but I will finish it and talk about it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I already halfway into the book, it's alarming. It's like
Yeah.
everything throughout the whole book is alarming, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't understand his decision.
I mean, I understand it. I don't want anyone to take it sideways here. Do I understand why he did all that? Oh, absolutely. Look, he's a businessman, and you know how businessmen and salespeople, okay, do things. We don't see gray area, okay? When somebody comes to me, and this is my big argument, but for the IGG, what's that called? The IGG, the suggestive rules. What is that?
The interim policy.
The interim policy. So with the IGG interim policy, I say this all the time. A lot of people like to lean on that and bring that up and say, hey, well, the IGG interim policy says this. Look, for salespeople, for businessmen, for lawyers, there's no gray area. So when you have an interim policy that's saying, hey, these aren't rules or laws, they're just suggestions, that's trash. That's like it's literally going to go in the trash. Nobody's going to follow that, okay? So when you're Scott Green, if you don't have a hard line of no, you cannot be in here, Scott Green. You are not part of law enforcement. We cannot risk you getting this case thrown away. We can't risk a retrial. We can't risk anything that could throw bias into this investigation. He's going to push, okay? So do I understand why he did it? Absolutely, I understand why he did it, okay? But he should have never been allowed to do it.
No.
I don't know what Fry was thinking. I have no idea. And it makes me concerned that ISP didn't step up. It makes me concerned that the sheriffs didn't step up. It makes me concerned that the FBI didn't step up. It makes me concerned that somebody didn't step up and say, whoa, what is going on here? Why do we have the college involved in the investigation?
Yeah, I
Makes
don't know.
no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
It makes no sense that, yeah, nobody said anything. Like, why are you guys involving the president of the university? Like, that doesn't look very good, right? If like the public finds out he's involved in the investigation, it makes more sense why he was at the press conferences now, doesn't it? But the book is horrible. Just to be honest, it is super boring. The only thing that has made it not boring is looking for things, you know, investigating the actual book in his own words. I saw Crimes, Lies, and Videotapes uh in the chat. That is also a content creator. Thanks for being here. Definitely go check out their channel. And I saw you saying you wanted to compare In On Harsh, Papa Roger, and like the Reddit and 4chan posts to see um how they compare. I think that's a really interesting idea. Um, you know, the one thing with Anon is he absolutely would be in the vicinity of these things. And if he's, say, a dealer to the frat house and to 1122 King Road for, you know, party drugs, um, he could know the dynamics very well, actually. He could know a lot. He lives right there in their neighborhood. You know, he could like stop by and like get high with them sometimes. Like, and you know, it could not come out to the public because nobody wants to tell them that Inan was their drug dealer because they don't want their frat to know they were doing drugs. They don't want the college to know they were doing drugs. They don't want their parents to know. Um, I could see, you know, fraternities keeping that hush hush, even in this situation. How do you guys feel about the book? How do you feel about the university being a part of the investigation and press conferences? One other thing I heard Chris McDonough say um, was that Scott Green had someone in their communications department on payroll to give information to the public. What? Okay, yeah, I could read it. Not on this stream, but I could make an audio file reading the book. Would you guys actually want that? Besides Heather? I mean, I would do it for Heather, but you would like a bedtime story about Scott Green and how great he is? Oh, I do want to pull up that video, Heather. You guys, now this is very serious. Heather sent me something. And I think we legitimately have a new suspect to this crime. Like, seriously. Brennan's not here to pull it up right now, but it's a huge deal. Heather looks into a lot behind the scenes, like a lot. And she sent me something. And as soon as I saw it, I just could not believe it. Yeah, for real. No, I'm not joking. I swear. It's just shocking. It's that shocking.
Make sure you guys all have your gifts on. I know we're gonna give out some
Can you pull up the video I sent to you in Discord real quick?
Okay.
It's very short but alarming. No, our private chat. I told everyone Heather sent me this, and
for anybody else out there, make sure that if you guys have been having issues with YouTube notifying you when new content comes out, that's okay. It happens to everyone, all right? So an option you have is to join our Discord, is to join our Patreon. They are free and always will be free, okay? They don't cost anything. Discord is a little hard to get used to. If you don't know what it is, I always suggest people to watch a YouTube video about it, and that'll give you the walkthrough of it. but it's just a chat that we continue the fun in. So hop in there. It's a good time. And we'll post the Patreon here too in a second. But here, let me pull this video up. Open. Oh, it only lets me quick time it. Okay. Well, hang on. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, I don't know how we always outfit coordinate. We don't do it on purpose.
Okay. Okay, here we go. What do we got cooking here?
It's the new suspect in this crime.
Okay. I mean, those are bushy eyebrows. Wow.
You guys, I was trying to hold it together that whole time.
Oh my. Yeah, I guess
some of you caught on to it though, obviously.
Those are
because I couldn't stop smiling.
Are those extensions?
I don't know how that's possible.
I think those are eyebrow extensions. I'm serious. Oh.
Or maybe she has a condition. So if you didn't know this,
well, now I feel bad. There's a condition.
Your hair has a set length it will grow to. Everybody's is different, and it's based off your genetics. So some people just can't grow their hair that long, and then some people have a condition where their eyebrows don't get the memo. Like their body hair doesn't get the memo, that because your eyebrows, like all your body hair, has that, you know, it will only grow to this length, and it's based on your genes, right? Your DNA doing what it's told to do. Some people's bodies don't get that memo, so I wonder if she's one of those people that like her eyebrows don't stop growing.
I mean,
she could just grow them forever.
It could be. But like I said, we're gonna make sure your gift receiving is on, you guys. Okay, make sure your gift receiving is on. We're gonna give away some memberships tonight. But okay, getting back into it. What is some other interesting parts to what happened tonight? If you guys have a second, please hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. And when the video's done and the video we released tonight, please leave a comment under there. Let us know what you think about it. If you want us to keep investigating it, if you want us to keep digging in, let me know what you think about the 4chan theory. And anybody that doesn't think there's any worth to the 4chan theory, help me understand how. Because look, even if Bryan Kohberger is guilty, like, then he needs to be connected to the 4chan. I don't understand how people are so dismissive of the 4chan theory at all, because there's information in there that came out weeks before the PCA, weeks before they even clarified the Elantra, weeks before the PCA came out, weeks before Bryan Kohberger was arrested. We're talking a lot of time. It's strange.
It came out only like a couple weeks after the crime.
It's strange.
Honestly, I think it was a week after the crime. Wasn't the first post November 19th?
Yeah. No, the first post was no. The first post was the very end of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a couple weeks.
Yeah. I think, and just to be clear, you guys, there's a 4chan post out there that totally turns people off from this theory. It's about, you know, something having to do with a fan and very gruesome details. I believe that's fake. There is not a single piece of valid evidence in that. Okay. That is not what we're talking about. I have never included that in this theory, because that person has only spoken that one time, and I don't believe it has anything to do with this.
Yeah, because every user has a code, and there's posts from that same day, and the person posted before and after that post with the same code. So it doesn't make sense. That one doesn't fit the way the rest of them are written. It doesn't fit the little user ID number. It doesn't fit any of it.
Yeah.
So it seems like somebody just got on there and tried to mess with people and faked them.
And someone asked, like, what if that was real? And so that video I showed in the premiere, you guys, and I'll pull it up here, okay? If you guys didn't watch the premiere and you're watching this right now, I'm telling you, you're missing out. We put so much great evidence in that premiere that we ran tonight, okay? But there is a video in there that specifically highlights Ethan Chapin's injuries, okay? Now, that's also paired with the statement that Annie Elise got weeks before from the FBI agent friend. She has a friend. That friend is married to an FBI agent, and he had some inside information. And what she said matches what this video evidence is that we showed on the premiere.
Well, it was a friend of a friend who's married to an FBI agent.
I don't think it was two people like that.
It was.
Oh, my allergies. Okay, well, I'm gonna pull up that video real quick just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Hang on 1 second here. Let me see. Okay, there we go.
I love the floating heads this time.
Yeah. Okay, here we go, guys. So
This is
for
Annie
those of
Elise?
you, no.
Who he was, because he wasn't tied to everyone in that room. Ethan wasn't supposed to even be there, and from what Ethan went through, that this guy just wasn't a man of character. He was just poorly built, and there isn't going to be some kind of connection that I would think that would explain this. Like behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being. I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close.
So there is right there, okay, that video right there. So I think that
when you compare it to what Annie Elise said, is
no. That this is supporting evidence why that 4chan post isn't real, the one that I'm talking about with the fan and stuff like that, because we've heard a couple different places that Ethan had, if not really bad injuries, strange injuries that might render him unable to fight,
unable to walk,
and
fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I and that entrail fan comment focuses specifically on Kaylee, I believe. So I just don't see there being anything strong to that. Right now, you partner that with the fact that they have an ID on there that isn't shown up in any of the other posts. It feels like a troll to me. And for those of you that aren't very familiar with 4chan, just don't try to become familiar with it. All right, it's a very specific type of people that go on there, very well known by college kids to be able to say anything you want. I mean, if you want the anarchy of social media
and racism,
it's so much worse than that. It's not even just racism. It is racism, sexism, literally, like I said, the anarchy of social media is 4chan.
Oh, it's trash for sure.
Yeah. So I don't suggest anybody go on there. But
it's bad.
It's really bad. It's bad enough I can't even pull it up here and show you like the front page, because more than likely there's going to be something really horrible on it. But
it does suggest something happened to Ethan that didn't happen to the girls. That's exactly what we were trying to point out.
Yeah.
And that, it seems like Ethan, they were trying to incapacitate him. I mean, he was the threat. Yeah. The girls, they're all pretty small, like a man against them and has a knife and maybe a gun, like who knows, isn't much up against a large man, or somebody who's fit.
Yeah, I can go back and number
you don't even have to be fit, maybe, but they were all pretty small.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go back and number the 4chan videos, you guys. I can do that. What I'll do is I'll put them in their own I'll put them in their own playlist for you, okay? Because I think we have in total 7 or 8 of them now, but that's including relevant situations like what's their 2 names? Hudson Lindau and Joseph Wyderick. Okay. That's also involved in there because I think that could have something to do with laying out the history of how this police force manages potential homicide. I think that those 2 have some very strange situations and circumstances to it that it could have been easily marked a homicide or accidental, manslaughter type situation. So, and I don't think they wanted that because I think that makes the city higher up on the crime rate statistics, which makes it less likely for people to want to go there to college.
Exactly. And I just posted a membership link because somebody just asked in the chat how you can turn gifting on. It doesn't usually pop up in the chat. Like when somebody gifts, something will pop up prompting you to say allow gifts.
Yeah.
Nobody's gifted yet, but that link should take you to a membership page on our profile. And it's kind of difficult to find, at least it is for me. But there's basically I'm on a browser, and when I'm on the browser, this little pop-up pops up. And I think it does the same on my phone, to be honest, but there's 3 little dots and it pulls up a menu that says gift settings. You want to find your gift settings and then you can turn it on through there. That link should take you somewhere where something will pop up that you can press those 3 little dots and get to your gift settings. Sorry, I can't help more. Everybody has different devices, Apple, Android, like browser, phone, so it's kind of difficult to be able to walk you through it without knowing what device you're on.
Yes. And once we get to 333, we will give away some memberships. What is the Annie Elise video called? I'll try and find out. I mean, we're gonna give out memberships anyways, but so I'll find out what the Annie Elise video is.
I know what it is. I'll get it real quick.
I mean, we can post it after. I don't want to interrupt the conversation like the think tank part of it.
Okay.
So when we're talking about the 4chan posts, I don't know what part of that video stood out to you the most?
One big part of it that stood out to me was the Venmo payment.
Yes. And that brings a connection to the eyebrow guy. And you know what's interesting is you rarely ever hear that talked about. Very, 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 very rarely do you hear it talked about. That Saeed, the guy with the really bushy eyebrows in the Banfield video, made a payment to one of the people that are involved in the 4chan theory. That is a huge coincidence, like massive coincidence.
Yeah, and he's out. The time he's out there's kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
He's out there at 254.
I have the total of the Venmo payment. I think it was a small amount, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And yeah, hit that like button, you guys, if you're having a good time.
The Venmo payment?
Yep. It doesn't say how much it was. It just says G.
It says Saeed paid David on November 13th, 2022 at 2:13 a.m.
2:13 a.m.
There's a G, and then he was in the Banfield at 2:54. That's at least a screenshot I have of him from that footage. And then they run across the screen, like where the guys are talking to the cops. They run across the screen at 3:12.
Yeah.
So that literally fits the timeline of
1
the
hour.
4chan theory.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, say they were going in, and remember, that's the last time Kaylee and Maddie were calling and texting. That literally aligns with when they were calling and texting, is 2:54 or something like that, 2:45, I don't know. But so that fits. And then he is walking into the band field, okay, at 2:54. That's the same time. And then 20 minutes later, they're running
I
towards Sigma Chi, and we see them running.
Well, it's 1 hour later.
No, that's at 3:12.
Yeah, and the payment was made at 2:13. So
Yeah,
1
I'm not
hour.
talking about the payment.
Oh. What?
He's in the band field at 2:54.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah.
And then those
Yep,
guys
yep,
take off running
yep,
20 minutes later.
Yeah.
So was he paid to be a lookout? Like,
Right,
what was he paid for?
So what you're saying, and I saw someone in here, if we could please give a rundown of the 4chan. I'll give a quick rundown. Make sure you watch our videos, though. You really need to see all the evidence. There's way too much there for me to like just quickly give you everything. Okay. So before the PCA came out, weeks before, okay, before anybody knew anything, there were these posts on 4chan.org or whatever it is. I forget right now. And it describes the crime in detail, in very specific detail, saying, giving evidence to why it is these people in Sigma Chi. Okay. And I just want to be clear that by us using Sigma Chi, we aren't trying to suggest the entire frat was involved. I don't think there's any way that could happen ever. People talk, okay? Everyone knows that. I don't think that would ever happen. But these two guys that were involved happened to be in Sigma Chi. Apparently, they had been talking about, joking, and interested in doing a crime of this nature for a long time. They went so far as to buy matching knives, and then it lays out what happened leading up to it. These two guys ended up getting a fight with Xana and Ethan at the Sigma Chi that night. Xana and Ethan ended up going home, being walked by Hunter and his girlfriend, which shows that that's kind of weird, right? Why they would walk them home when they're just as capable of walking 5 minutes by themselves. Then, you know, the crime happens, and right at crime time, where they're suggesting that time occurred, we see them 20 minutes later running behind the Banfield footage. So there's as much evidence there, in my opinion, as there is with the Bryan Kohberger theory. Now, I want to be clear here. I don't know if I necessarily believe this point for point, okay? And why I'm saying that is I'm not somebody that can comfortably commit to a theory, an idea, a hypothesis without having all the facts, all right? So I feel like we have a picture, and maybe we have enough pieces to give us the outline of that puzzle picture, but we don't have any of the pieces in the middle, all right? So with Bryan Kohberger there, if he ends up not being the guy, which like we have been talking about with 113 pieces of evidence, with what we saw in the exterior of the crime scene, with the lack of sufficient evidence that's being posted in the PCA, there's some major concerns here, right? So when we're looking at other possible theories, because if it ends up being that Bryan's not it, then who is? Okay, the house is gone, right? The house is gone. So what other possibilities are there out there? And I think the 4chan theory is I think it holds water, right?
Yeah,
I think it holds water.
there's just too many details.
There's too many details. So,
and it's not
what
details that don't fit. It's details that do fit from
Right.
everything we've seen. I
Yeah.
feel like you overlooked how important what I just showed was.
What?
the timeline. That was the whole point, was establishing a timeline.
Yeah, I didn't
and I
overlook
find
it.
it
I think it's really important.
it's incredibly suspect that Saeed pays David. Okay, so Saeed paid David, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's at 2:13 a.m.
Correct.
Then he's in the Banfield walking away from 1122 King Road, like
Yes.
literally came from over there at 2:54 a.m. And 20 minutes later, these guys are running away
Across.
from the home.
Correct. That's correct. That's
Like
correct.
that fits the timeline given in the 4chan theory.
It does. And here's another interesting piece. So
it
most
fits
people,
the timeline of the cops too, except in a whole hour earlier.
Yeah, an hour earlier, right?
Like
the
how
original
much time?
timeline.
Like how much time it took to commit the crime.
The pre-PCA. Right. Yeah, no, I know. That's it's massive. I'm telling you. It perfectly fits that 20-minute mark. Now, when for those of you that don't know, Saeed is very technology skilled, okay? And we have evidence of this. I should have posted it, but I don't like feeling like I'm targeting someone without having like 100% confirming evidence. But when we were doing some research and background, when he was, what, was he 14 or 15? So 2017, 21. So that is 5 years ago. So 16. So he is either 15 or 16 years old, and he was offering to jailbreak iPhones for people. Okay. That's young to be able to have the mental capacity to do that. All right. So I can do that. I know how to do that. I can jailbreak anything. I can do anything to any technology or network. But to see a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old that has the interest and the time to do that, and their only interest isn't drinking and girls, it's strange. It makes me feel like there's a lot more that could possibly be there. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, why do you think him having tech knowledge adds to the theory? Like, what does that add to the theory? The fact that he has some tech experience.
All right, so tin hat on, okay? Because it could mean anything. So I just want to be clear. It could mean anything, but tin hat on here. I'm just making this up. We've seen a lot of questions around if somebody conducted this crime, would they do this crime while leaving victims that could potentially have called 911 from their phone? All right. So that seems like a big red flag, big no, big, there's better ways to do it. Then we also see in the video footage that there was a network disconnection on the TV projector in, was it Maddie's room? Maddie's room, right? The corner room.
Had a projector?
Yeah, there's a projector. And on that projector TV, it said that there was no network connection. Okay. So, could somebody have been involved to create it essentially would do the same thing as a dirt box or a stingray, okay? What it would do is interrupt the network from phones, anything that has a wireless connection.
Wi-Fi?
Anything. Yes, anything. So is this man skilled enough to do something like that, to guarantee that police can't be called?
Yeah, but wouldn't you be able to tell from a forensic download of their phones if they tried? Yeah, it'd be on their call log.
I mean, not necessarily.
Why not?
And we don't know that yet if there was an attempt made. That's not information we have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Steve said that Kaylee did not try to call 911. And that she didn't see it coming.
Yeah,
at least from indications from her phone.
But Steve doesn't. I don't want this to come off wrong. The victims' families are going through something I could never begin to understand. Okay, I never want to come off offensive to them. I think that I am here to support them. I can't even imagine going through something like this. But if we're being objective, it doesn't seem like Steve has a very realistic connection to the evidence that has been shared and or given in this case if those messages are real. I know for a fact when it comes to cell phone and network technology, okay, there's not anybody that could argue that with me. The only thing that could make my rundown of that cell phone network technology wrong is if there's a tower that somehow is not on the FDA, the FFA tower list, which there's not, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, Xana was using TikTok.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
But I mean, that
Good
was
call. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good call.
I'm just wondering, I don't know.
That's why I said I'm going tin hat. I haven't tracked this idea yet. I'm just saying there are questions out there.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, so how I thought his tech experience could possibly come into play is way less tin hat. But you know, this whole theory is considered tin hat to a lot of people. Is that we saw in the 4chan post, it said the Davids left their phones running, playing videos while they went to commit the crime so that the phones wouldn't show them leaving or doing anything. It would appear their home. So they have an alibi. Well, if this guy were involved with them and he has tech experience, because I was thinking the whole time, like, how would they even know to do that? You know?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they just leave their phones? I mean, I don't know. I guess it's
No,
I guess you
I
could think
wouldn't
of
reach out to
I guess you
anyone.
could think to do that. No, we won't reach out to any of these people.
No. I don't ever suggest that. Don't reach out to anybody, you guys. It's one thing for us to think tank this theory through and investigate based on the evidence that we can gather. It's another thing to interrupt somebody's lives. I just won't personally look. If someone wants to reach out to me, there is an open invitation. I will talk to anybody anytime about anything. Okay. And we've talked about this before that you know, there was somebody that in real life had made threats to me in regards to like YouTube content. I'll even talk to them. But I'm not going to go interrupt somebody's life. I just won't do that.
No, I won't do it either. And you know, the cops need to be the ones investigating all of this.
They do. And if they're
Um,
not taking the initiative by looking at this, and I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that. So the cops were looking in this direction in the beginning. That's not a maybe. That is a 100% for sure. They were asking for all video, audio, and evidence in general for this area surrounding Sigma Chi and the Arbitorium. They were.
mm-hmm. You know, it's also interesting that Bethany was at Sigma Chi with Ethan and Xana that night. And she is the one supposedly with exculpatory evidence.
I know, right?
So, what is that exculpatory evidence? Is it actually exculpatory for Bryan Kohberger, or is it inculpatory for other suspects, which therefore becomes exculpatory for Bryan Kohberger? I don't know. Is it based off something she saw at the house, or is it based off something she saw at Sigma Chi, or walking home, or you know what? Like, we don't know. We have zero idea. Okay, now allow gifts should be popping up now. I saw somebody asking, I do not know of a way to prompt you in the chat to turn on gifts. That only pops up when somebody actually gives gifts. So,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
What do you mean? We're giving because we love our Thought Riot podcast family. Bam. We do it once a month. We do it once a month. And, you know, we want to make sure people have the ability to come check out the members only portion, which is what we do at the end of, you know, the True Crime Talk Show.
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
So, yeah. Hit that like button, you guys. We would really appreciate it. It does a whole lot for us, okay? It does a whole lot for us, for you to hit that like button and leave a comment under videos. So we appreciate all of you. And if you got a membership, I'm super glad you did, and that's incredible. So, and you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, that. Thank you guys for being here.
Yes. Okay, so going into the police.
Look.
What? Yeah. Well, going into the police, and yeah, it's supposed to. Going into the police, the police were looking into them. We watched that video, okay? We watched this video.
Which one?
Right here.
Students were stabbed to death as the investigation continues in Moscow, Idaho. Now, part of that timeline includes a party at a fraternity house where investigators believe Xana and Ethan were at some point before they returned home. Senior national correspondent Bryan Kohberger is live in Moscow. And Bryan, you spoke with the president of the Sigma Chi fraternity house.
Yeah, Nicole, this was our very first time speaking with the president of that fraternity. You know, they've really been under the microscope because we know two of the victims were at that fraternity house a short time before the murders. The president says they are fully cooperating with the police. The flag is at half-staff at the University of Idaho Sigma Chi fraternity house, the last place victims Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin were seen alive, according to police. For the first time, we are hearing from the fraternity's president.
I knew them. Ethan was always in our house. Xana was a good friend before, you know, Ethan even came up. But that's all I really want to talk about right now because I actually have class here in like 15 minutes.
Sigma Chi President Reed Offson says the fraternity is cooperating with the investigation. The fraternity is about half a block from the house where the murders happened. Does anyone know where they were during that timeline? Like there's still this big chunk where...
As of right now, we've told Moscow PD, Idaho State Police, and the FBI all we know. We're kind of leaving it up to them to piece it together. Obviously, we don't have the utilities or resources to do it on our own, so we're just putting full faith in officers.
Do it on our own. That's a weird thing to say.
Right now.
Are there any cameras around?
Not on the property.
Moscow Police.
That is strange, okay? To do it on our own. To do it on our own.
Say.
It is. It's strange. It's strange. And look, just to be clear, you guys, like I've said this a million times, I want Bryan Kohberger to be guilty. But one thing I'm not willing to do, I'm not willing to fabricate weird subjective situations to make him look more guilty, okay? I have too much respect and faith in my US, my judicial system, my police, my citizens that I'm a part of in the US to do something like that. I just can't do it. I don't have it in me. Even if I wanted to, I just don't have it in me, okay? I think the only way forward is objective, fair evidence.
Yep.
So they were looking in on the frat. That literally says police zero in on frat house, okay?
That's really interesting. And you know, I just like Chris McDonough is on the other side of the fence when it comes to this. Like I don't think he's necessarily willing to look at these things, at least not right now, because he feels the evidence is really strong against Kohberger. And it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Like when somebody who has as much experience as him is willing to come forward and talk about it and say there's problems not only with the investigation, but with the involvement of the university and the interconnectedness of this community.
Yeah.
And the judge being, you know, Moscow homegrown, and, you know, and all of the things we're seeing play out in court, there's problems. And he said, you know, if the state hasn't turned over discovery, all of the discovery, like, those questions need to be answered. Like, why are you not just getting it over with, handing them the evidence? Like, what is taking you so long?
I mean, they're not really allowed, but
you know, but again, like, it doesn't matter what side of this you're on, or whether you like Chris McDonough or not. He's asking important questions right now, and his experience matters, you know, like, he's an expert because he has spent so much time in the field actually investigating crime. So, and it still does it even in retirement. Like, it's something he cares about. So I value his opinion a lot. But I just don't agree with him that I can condemn Kohberger yet.
yeah.
I have to see the trial to be able to do that.
Isn't it interesting
He
that
said
these
the
two
opposite.
guys are not in the school anymore?
It is interesting. But, you know, Chris McDonough said the opposite of have faith in the system. He said the Chapins seem like they're being really patient and, like, sitting by, you know, like, waiting to see what happens, basically, like, trusting in the system. And he said, don't do that. You're the only advocate for your kid getting justice. You're the only one who can make that impact statement. Like, you need to care about it. You need to, like, advocate. And I agree. Like, there's no one better to advocate for your child than you. And you can't just count on the system doing it. Like, nobody, we should have faith in it, because we're supposed to be the balance here. The public is supposed to be able to, like, say, hey, something's not right here.
So, to be clear though, faith doesn't mean trust. A lot of people,
It doesn't?
a lot of people combine those together. I have faith that we have enough good people in our justice system that there is still a positive and respectable amount of people to have a respectable amount of judicial or justice in our judicial system. However, I do not ever believe following in blind faith. Okay. Everything is trust but verify. Everything is trust but verify. Okay. And that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And that's exactly what we're doing by scrutinizing the investigation is the trust but verify. That verify is very, very, very important. Very important. And you know, there's been a lot of talk recently between, you know, whether the defense has a leg up, whether the prosecution has a leg up. I want to be clear to everyone. Nobody has a leg up. So anybody out there that believes like, oh yeah, this is a win for Kohberger, or this is a win for the prosecution, or this is a win. Look, they don't even have all the discovery. They don't have all the discovery.
I know. It's that. So I saw a comment on Reddit today actually about that, and I have no idea if this is true. Something tells me that it's not. I don't know. Like, I don't know. This is just a weird situation. But they said nobody gives an alibi before they get all of the discovery. Normally you get all of the discovery way earlier on than this.
That's not true.
I don't think that's
not
true.
Yeah, that's not true at all. I mean, somebody can give an alibi. Look, here's the big difference with the alibi, you guys. And I've thought about this and thought about this and thought about this. So, you're dealing with somebody that has experience of the judicial system and law in general, okay? And somebody that has a lot of experience when it comes to the police. So with that in mind, I don't see Bryan Kohberger coming forward and giving an alibi without having evidence. So this idea that is out there that like, well, he's just waiting to see what their evidence is to build his alibi around it. That's not true. Okay. I think he knows how bad it looks for him right now, and it does look bad for him. The stats between guilt and innocent are very heavily skewed towards guilt. Okay. And that's just the reality. He knows that if he's going to come out with an alibi, in order for that alibi to have any sort of weight to it, trust, worth, anything that anybody's going to be willing to listen to, he is going to have evidence to back it. Okay. What evidence is there? What evidence could you yourself offer if you were out driving around? What evidence? Your location,
your cell phone data, or car or video.
Exactly.
Which
the
is
one
the
thing
cops
they don't have.
that. That's what the cops have, not them.
The cops don't even have it. They're supposedly waiting on the FBI.
Oh yeah, right.
So that is what they're waiting on. That's the only evidence Bryan Kohberger himself could offer. And again, let me be very painfully clear, you guys. I hope Bryan Kohberger's guilty. I want him to be. I do. Because you know how big of a problem this is going to be if Kohberger isn't guilty? Ooh. I would be moving out of Idaho like yesterday, okay?
I hope they have some good background app data on him, man.
I hope they have great GPS data. I really do. I really do. We know that they don't have cell phone triangulation. For anyone that's new here, network technology is like my specialty, okay? That 100%, anything having to do with networks, anything having to do with technology of any kind, I could give you the rundown on any of it. There is no cell phone tower triangulation in that area because they don't have enough towers. It's not there.
Right.
So maybe they're trying to offer some sort of triangulation with a possible two tower overlap, or they're giving a blended location by using a mix of tower data and GPS background data, which is called geo-blended GPS. I don't know. I don't know.
So what do you think about the prosecution trying to like imply there's the possibility there that they could be trying to fabricate an alibi using the discovery against the state?
No, I think as a prosecution, I think you should bring that up because look at lawyers, especially skilled lawyers, are looking at an entire 3D model with smell, with color, with everything of every situation that can be expected to come forward in front of the court. Okay. So as the prosecution, would I think that they weren't doing their job if they weren't worried about that? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was fair to bring it up.
For sure.
But in the same respect, if you're out driving around, as you said, and you're alone, what do you have to give an alibi? Like, well, it's the cops, what they say they've collected on you through video, your car, and your cell phone. That's all you have to secure an alibi. So at the same time, I'm like, they should at least get the discovery and be able to look at it and then set a deadline.
I agree with you. I think it is absurd, you guys, that they still don't have 100% of the discovery. There's something going on there. There's something wrong there. All right.
Well, it's the FBI. It's the TUI regulation. It's the fact that the FBI doesn't have to turn over what it doesn't want to turn over.
Yeah, we're guessing so. Yeah, we're guessing so.
I mean, we know there was a TUI letter, and we also know that the prosecution is saying, just read the TUI letter, okay? It's got the whole outline summary of how we got to Bryan Kohberger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without investigating their work, without looking at what they actually did, just read what they say they did.
Yeah.
Without any proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, not okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Not how it works.
It's just there's this idea that the state's case is really strong, but what, in my opinion, if the state's case was strong, they wouldn't have leaned so heavily on the eyewitness testimony. Eyewitness testimony is notoriously not reliable. Okay, if the state's case was strong, they never would have brought in the eyewitnesses. In fact, they would have used calling them up as witnesses against the defense if they had an airtight case. They would have.
Thank you, KK, for the $10
Oh,
super
yeah.
sticker.
That's awesome. We appreciate you. You're incredible. Thank you for being here. A lot of people have brought up this idea about Bryan Kohberger accepting a plea. Look, they don't even have all the evidence. They don't have all the discovery yet. You know, I feel like a lot of us want this to be moving a lot faster than it actually is. So I don't think we're going to see any decisions made until they have all the discovery. And it sounds like they're missing very key parts of the discovery.
Very key.
Yeah.
The cast report is very key. I really want to know, like, I want a lawyer to tell me, is it normal for a cast report to come this long after? Like, is that normal after the speedy trial, like, date that was set? Like, and they're just now getting it? They're just now getting it peer reviewed.
No, if
that it does not seem normal whatsoever, but
if I'm Ann Taylor,
that's sketchy.
I would pull up all the network data, and this is what's interesting. Okay, I want to know when they did the in-person tower verification. The reason being is because this crime happened in 2022. Okay. There wasn't as in-depth of a 5G network in 2022 as there is now. So if they're doing in-person verifications now, and this crime happened over a year ago, it's going to be flawed data.
That's what I was making the point of, is like, it's a whole year after, and there's going to be updates. They're talking about doing some kind of revamp, like the company, like one of the companies is supposedly coming out there and doing a revamp of the cell towers, like maybe adding more, upgrading the system. But regardless, upgrades happen throughout, like, just everyday life. Like, how many times do they typically upgrade?
What do you mean? How
do
many
upgrades
times? To the network?
Yeah.
It's never ending.
So it's constant.
It's constant. There are teams out there that constantly.
So you need to get it done as quickly as you can.
Yeah, there's just, so they have teams out there for all these different network companies, and they travel the US updating different areas. And a lot of times there's this big list, and that list can change and whatever, but it's based on importance. And that importance is based on how many people live in that area, you know, how many issues they're having, how old the antennas and the network is in that area. I mean, there's a ton of factors, but
yeah, but so SW Firefly said that they were rewatching the Murdaugh trial, and the cast expert said it took them a year to complete the report. But it wasn't cell tower triangulation, right? It was
no, yeah,
it was
wasn't.
like app data and other things, right?
Yep.
Geolocation data.
I think they did use cell tower triangulation on a couple things, but it was mainly background application data, because they were using apps within the car, and whatever that system's called. I forget what it's called right now. But yeah. Oh, we can. I haven't watched it.
Leaving it to you.
I haven't watched it.
I don't even I was busy today, so I didn't I remember putting it on, but I can't remember what was said in it. And we're talking about the new Steve G interview. Somebody asked us to watch it, and I was just asking if Brendan wanted to. I know there's also some new court docs out too, which
Where is it? I don't even know where it's at.
yeah, set the filter to see the filter
Yeah.
this past week. There you go. That's it. The Rust trial. Is that about the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen a little bit of it. I know it's making the rounds right now. A lot of people are talking about it. I haven't really paid much attention to it, to be honest, but I can if you guys want me to.
Steve Gonzalez. Steve, thank you for joining me tonight, especially after putting out that really difficult statement today. In court on Wednesday, you and your wife, Christy, were visibly upset. That must have been a really tough hearing to come out of.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit used to the delays and the tactics that are being used. So we're trying to understand that we don't, you don't get justice in one day. You got a process to go through.
It's hard though, right? Finding that sweet spot. This is a death penalty case. You want to get it right. You definitely don't want something to be overturned on appeal because they hurried this thing through. But from your perspective, you don't know anything. I mean, this is different because there's this gag order. Is that part of the biggest issue? Is that you're just being kept so much in the dark for so long?
Well, I understand that there's a massive amount of evidence against this guy, and I feel like the rules are changing. There was a time where an eyewitness was the best kind of evidence you could have. Nowadays, a cell phone and a car and surveillance, that's not memory. That's actual physical proof that an individual was at the crime scene during the time. And we're getting to that point where, you got a defense that's overwhelmed with so much evidence that they're having a hard time defending it. And there's never going to be enough time for them. There's never going to be enough time for them to be prepared for the amount of evidence that they've been, dropped on them. I mean, terabytes of data has been dropped on their head. The whole world responded to this case, and they all came forward. And I think they're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of evidence that they have against their client, and it could take them lifetimes to prepare for this.
Sure. Yeah. And so what usually happens, and of course, this is a road you've never tread before. You're having to learn it, and there's no guidebook. But what usually happens as you get deep into this process, especially in a death penalty case, is eventually prosecutors consider talking to families about a deal. They typically don't do a deal before they get the families, feelings and thoughts and weigh how families feel. Has there been any effort at this point for prosecutors to say, look, we could put them away tomorrow. We could end all of this. The death penalty is what's going to take this time. Has there been any inkling towards the potential of maybe striking a deal, taking death off the table for a conviction?
You know what? Idaho's still small. And when you hurt our family, when you kill our children, it still matters. And all the way to Brad Little, we've talked with people that actually have stepped up and said, "Hey, we are going to make sure that this individual is held to the highest Supreme Court level that we possibly can." So there probably is those thoughts, but nobody's around to even hear them. because they know I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not here to compromise on my daughter's name. We are going to go for the ultimate level of accountability. I mean, we're talking about people that were in their bed, and if we believe the affidavit, this individual looked at somebody and said, I'm here to help you. If that's not cruel, if that's not disgusting, when that person could have turned around and left the crime scene, but he said, I'm here to help you, and chased that person down, there's gotta be a line that we write as society and say, no more, no more. We are going to stand our ground. In Idaho, we are standing our ground on this case, and we're going to hold this guy
I can understand that.
to the highest.
I can understand it. I can understand how you feel a deal would not be an option for you. I have about 10 seconds left, but I do have to ask.
Wait, why
has
are they asking
anybody
about it?
even mentioned it to you?
No, I don't think that that would be a conversation that they would even try with me.
No.
Steve, you know, we keep meeting under these circumstances. I am hoping for the best for you and your family. You deserve justice. You deserve to have.
All right.
Well,
it's nothing new. Okay.
He apparently has a new hex coin hat, so that's interesting.
I feel like he's like feeding the frenzy. He's had to have seen the Crime Circus stuff. Crime Circus is one of the biggest like solo content.
Even Chris McDonough likes Crime Circus.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, we love Drip Drop, but
I
was surprised to see Chris McDonough like Drip Drop. Anyway, so I find it interesting that he's saying he's not relying on witness testimony.
No, I mean, that's how it should be.
But yeah, it should be that way. But it also kind of falls in lines with his leaked text that the witnesses caused more confusion than anything. Like,
I think they did. But here's the thing. Oh man, I feel so bad for him. Like, I feel so bad for him. I can't even explain how bad I feel for him.
I know,
because I'm seeing contradicting evidence here based on his statements. He comes out and says, hey guys, there is so much evidence against him. So much evidence against him. And then he references parts of the PCA and says, you know, if this is real, if this is what happened, if he knew there was so much evidence, which I have another point too, but if he knew there was so much evidence, he wouldn't be referencing the PCA, because the PCA is not so much evidence, you guys.
Everybody knows that PCA was the worst.
I don't know about everyone. I feel like for a very long time, people that believed he's guilty were trying to say like, this is a really good PCA.
That's
this
true.
is really no way, dude. It doesn't matter if you think he's guilty or innocent. That PCA is messed up, man. They should have got help from their bros in the FBI. All right, because that is messed up. All right, and looking at the Steve Gonsalves information. So when he's saying there's a ton of evidence, then he references the PCA, and oh man, I forgot my other point. What was my other point? ADHD moment I'm having here.
I'm not in your head.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I lost it. But
you heard contradicting points that you know, he's saying there's so much evidence, yet he's saying, can we believe the PCA
moment. But anyways, I just feel really bad for him, because if anyone deserves the truth, okay, more than anybody in the public, more than me, more than you, more than anybody else out there, it is the parents of these victims. It's pretty. Oh, here's my thought. I got it. Okay, it came back to me. He's saying there's so much evidence, but you know what's funny is they don't have all their evidence. They don't have it. They don't have very, Very key. Can you imagine trying to take a case? Okay. So I personally believe the location on the GPS and cell phone data is the most important evidence, more important than the DNA, more important than the pictures, more important than anything.
It is.
It is the single most important piece of evidence in almost any case. In almost any case that shows the jury where the suspect was, what the suspect was doing, and when they were doing it. And you know what they don't have? That. None of it. They don't have it.
No, they just now are getting a cast report that should have been done so long ago. So I saw.
So they're betting on
I
false
saw-
promises.
I saw Dollyhood say that in the Rust trial that they got the cast data out in 6 to 8 weeks.
That's what that I'm pretty sure that's what it says in the cast report. So there is a cast rules and regulations report out there that we read through in the cell phone video. You guys here, I need to post that cell phone video. Hang on one second.
Why don't you let me do it so you can talk, because you can't talk and link.
No, I can't, but that's okay. I'm just gonna post this right here. The
What, the Idaho4 playlist?
yep. So just post the Idaho4 playlist.
Okay.
And then I will pull up that video here and reference it. Because I think a lot of people want to see the Idaho for all of our videos. We probably have about 50 of them, but digging into the most minute, tiny details ever. Hang on, where are you at? Where are you at? Okay, there we go. Bam. Okay, so here we go, guys. If you have not seen this video right here, you need to so bad right here, okay? Cell phone data and the breakdown. This gives you the rundown, all the details, all of the network experience that I have, multiple decades of network experience, and breaks it all down for you. So
there, I just post the Idaho4 playlist in the chat, and the cell phone and cast data, all that stuff. Those videos are in there.
Awesome. So but going back to the cast report, so there in that video that we just showed you, we looked through the cast report. That's the rules and regulations of what the cast program is allowed to do within a court of law. Okay. And it says, especially AT&T. AT&T is one of the most unreliable, but you guys, AT&T has something that other carriers don't. Okay. So to get background GPS data, that has to come from an application. It does not come from your cell phone service. You cannot get GPS data from your cell phone carrier. But with AT&T, you can. They offer this built-in application that has GPS tracking on your phone. I forget what it's called. It's AT&T something. But so if that was downloaded and being used, then they should be able to have his GPS location. My big thing is, in cases where we see the prosecution and the state coming out and saying, oh, we have such a great case, we're so awesome, it's so amazing, we have so much evidence, that's usually the time they don't have it. But then when you see them coming in and acting like they don't have much is usually when they come in and they drop that hammer.
Dude, that's what Chris McDonough was saying tonight too, is that
family Matt, thank you.
The prosecution is too confident in their case. He said, don't get overconfident. Do not, disregard Ann Taylor. Like, she's on it.
Too confident.
Yeah, he thinks they're too confident in their case, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say they believe the prosecution's confident in the
I
case.
don't believe they're confident.
I don't see it either. I don't feel like they're
I
confident
think they
either.
were.
I think they were too.
They
Until
were in the beginning.
Clearly, something has changed, you guys. It's
Oh, I
obvious.
promised I was
The
going to talk about this.
interactions
I'm glad you said that.
between the defense and the prosecution has changed. And yeah, I also find it very alarming that Judge seems to have no idea what CAS data even means.
I mean,
He acted so confused, which clearly is a testament.
Fair.
It is. It's a testament to their inexperience. They don't deal with these situations regularly.
Yeah.
So I think it's just him not having that experience with it.
Yeah.
But that means he doesn't understand what comes along with that. That means he doesn't understand like how quickly it should, like that they should already have it. That shouldn't be what they're waiting on.
To be fair though, how many people have you come across that have the type of experience when it comes to networks that I have? Nobody. Okay. I'm not saying that there isn't anybody out there, because there are. I know people that know way more than me, you guys. But I'm just saying that because it's few and far between. So I don't want to be too hard on Judge. I wouldn't expect him to be some cast or network expert, you know what I mean? But you know,
you have a question, and I think it's an important question because I have experienced this, Jennifer. I went on vacation to a beach, and I was in like a little resort town type thing, where nobody leaves. They just all stay there, you know, and hang out at the beach, and they have little shops there, like, so you don't have to leave. I had like no service at times of the day when everyone was outside playing music. Because there's a certain time of day, like everyone goes out and has dinner and plays music. I could not get service because the towers were congested.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's a real thing. It really does happen.
And that was a very busy weekend. It was game night. But the time of day, I don't know. Would it have still been congested?
I don't think so, but
yeah, I wouldn't think so either, to be honest.
I don't think so. And you got to remember that one of the towers that was covering the 1122 were the small cell towers. So I don't want to confuse people when I'm talking about the small cell towers. So the full size towers go much further, and they usually cover a broad of bands. You have your 3G, you have your 4G, you have multiple 4G bands, you have your 5G bands, you have your mid, your high, your lows. You have all this going on in a tower. When I'm saying small cell towers, those towers can actually support way more than the large towers can, but a much smaller distance, like a fraction, like 5%, maybe 1% what a full-size tower does. But it can hold a lot of people because it is managing a lot of data. But when you have such a high wave frequency managing a lot of data, it goes a very, very, very short distance. So she said, but could it have thrown off other parts of the ping timeline? No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Where you're going to see that happening is if there's not coverage by more than one tower.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a problem depending on where he's at. I understand that. That's going to be a problem no matter what. It's not inhibited or increased because of the busyness of the weekend. That's just going to be a problem no matter what, because of how the towers work. And I think I've described this before, but how towers work now is like, imagine a line, okay? Or actually, this is good.
Exactly, so, Tara. That's exactly what happens.
I have my beard comb here, okay? And each one of these bristles is a person's cell phone. So when the cell phone data is being sent to the tower, each bristle is a different person. And that's literally how the connection looks. It will be one string of data going into the tower with different people, but it's going so fast at the speed of light that even though I am here, and there's 50 people in between me, I don't notice any gap in my coverage or phone calls or anything like that.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Well, there's a recent video I made a thumbnail for that shows all the little strings going to the phone.
Just imagine standing in a line somewhere. That's how your data looks going to the tower. It's in a line, but it's going so fast. So when you watch a TV is actually like blinking. Okay, it's going so fast, and that allows it to change the the different frames, and it's just the frames are moving so fast we see it fluid. All right. That's kind of what the tower's doing. And each blink, it's happening so quick with your data connection in your phone, you don't notice there's a gap there, but it allows a whole bunch more phones to use that tower's frequency network.
I have a splinter.
You know?
Ow.
I know. Pretty high-tech demonstration with my beard comb.
Dude, anything he uses as a prop is just so absurd.
But you guys, if anybody's watching this, give me objective evidence why it can't be the 4chan theory. That's what I want. I am like, every day, all day, all I've been doing is thinking about, give me a reason why it can't work. Like, help me find a reason why the 4chan can't work. I
agree with you, because every argument I've heard against it has not been objective.
No, they're all subjective.
There has nothing been objective that literally proves, like, well, look, this was happening that night, so that could not have happened. It's not possible. Nobody's been able to say that with the 4chan theory at all. Nothing. Not a single thing have they been able to prove as impossible.
Yeah.
Which is concerning.
Pokemon Go was hard to play out in like the Moscow area. They probably did that on purpose, because when I was out there, I was just like, riding my scooter around and playing Pokemon Go, but I literally only got connection like half the time. I mean, it allowed me to get better on my scooter. I got some pretty cool scooter tricks down.
There's so many people that have went to the Moscow area, and people who live in that area that have said, yeah, our cell phone coverage
the cell phone's awful.
Sucks.
I can tell by looking at the map.
Horrible. Andrea Burkhart said it's bad. Lana from Truth and Transparency said it's bad. Gabriel Vargas said it's bad. Like, anybody that I've heard that has been there has said it's bad.
I can look at a map and tell you it's bad without having to go there.
Yep.
It's very apparent on the maps that it's bad. Very apparent. Very, very, very apparent.
Yeah, big cities are the best for Pokemon Go, for real.
Yeah.
People in rural areas are so screwed with Pokemon
Chicago,
Go.
baby. All we got to do is like get our scooter and phone, and we're good to go,
Scooter?
Yeah. I like Razor scootering.
Oh, you're literally talking about a Razor scooter, not even like a cool adult electric scooter?
No, I'm talking about a Razor. What's not cool about a Razor scooter?
Is somebody gonna tell him?
I think they're really cool.
No, Andrea Burkhart did a good job, and I love her so much, but Brendan destroyed the cell phone data.
Yeah, Andrea Burkhart, she's a lawyer, okay?
That's not her expertise, but she did a good job arguing it, and I adore her.
She did a good job arguing it. Yeah, she did a good job arguing it, but there's some key points that like she could really hit it in if she just like knew a little bit more of
Yep.
what was going on.
So Andrea Burkhart, if you want to know a little bit more, reach out to Brendan.
I literally tagged her in the video, so hopefully she watched it, because there's a serious argument there. And
There is.
I need to know. My concern is what the network is looking like now, and if they're using that updated network for the case when they need the network from November of 2022, which is post. You realize that, like, if this crime would have been committed 6 months earlier while the 3G network was still turned on, they probably would have had no problem locating him. But there's no 3G network, which is shorter distances. So when the 3G network turned off is probably when Moscow, Idaho's cell phone coverage went in the trash can, is my assumption.
Good point. Really good point.
Yeah, I'm just joking about the scooter. I have a skateboard. Yeah, I can't reach it.
So I
will
have
show you our skateboard, which is awesome.
Mia Anderson Sweden said, I heard in someone's video a long time ago about BK. He was with an Asian girl at 2 a.m. in the morning at on a Walmart surveillance camera and on a Walmart surveillance camera at 8 to 9 in the morning. No, that is true. I have heard, you know what's funny? Brat Norton, the one whose texts are leaked with Steve Gonzalez, she actually came out with a picture of that girl. And it's made its rounds around the internet. Now, it's not heavily talked about, but it has been talked about. And I've seen a picture of her, and apparently her name is in some court documents. I still need to go look for it. I haven't had the chance yet, but that's true. Now, I don't know how accurate it is, but I'm just saying it's true. People have been talking about it, and that her name is apparently in court documents. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on there with that.
Yeah, I love that skateboard.
I'm really curious how many like
what?
How many girls Kohberger's dated? If he
That
has a preference, like, is his preference Asian? Because that does not align with this narrative.
okay. I mean, if Kohberger's guilty, okay. So if Kohberger's the guilty one,
You didn't want to touch that.
no, that's not it at all. I was just trying to figure out how to go about my explanation. So I want to go down the idea of Bryan Kohberger being guilty. If he's guilty, we don't know what caused him to want to do this and to do this crime in this way. It with the anger that's involved, there doesn't necessarily have to be some sort of attraction, physical attraction to like Kaylee or Maddie. It could be that he has some kind of repulsion and sees them as some kind of a problem, so he targeted them. I think that's a very real possibility.
I guess, but I find it highly improbable.
He could see that maybe he targeted them because they remind him of a family member, of somebody that did something to him in his younger years that caused some kind of trauma. We don't know.
Okay.
I think any of those are realistic.
Nah, maybe. But I also saw somebody say that his gay girlfriend died some years ago too. Now, I did know about him while Kohberger was a drug addict.
We covered that.
Yeah, we talked about it. He was friends with a girl who was gay and was with another girl. And there was some speculation that he had a crush on this girl and wanted to be with this girl. That is all speculation.
Dude, the birthing hips is weird.
There is no proof that Kohberger ever had a crush on that girl or wanted to be with her or anything like that. Like he was hanging out with her in a group of friends. So what about birthing hips?
Just the birthing hips comment. I have no idea if it's true, but if it is
Who
true,
did he say?
girl.
Oh.
Yeah. So after their date with the tickling, he said something about birthing hips, but like, okay.
He could have meant that as a compliment, though.
I agree. That totally feels like something I would say. So I
didn't want to say it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I could see myself getting in a situation like that, though, where I would say something meaning it's a comment, a compliment, and somebody else would take it as it not being, though. You know what I mean?
You know, I have been told I have birthing hips. Like, I've actually been told that by multiple people as a compliment. So it's weird, I guess. It's pretty weird and awkward, but like people say that.
I have great birthing hips.
People say
I do.
People totally say that, though. Like, Kohberger's not the only one, guys. If I've heard it numerous times in my life from numerous people, like, is it that weird? Even if it feels weird?
Yeah, it does feel weird. It's just a weird thing to say because, number one, look, it's date one, okay? So, like, thought number one should be, like, trying to hook up.
What?
You know?
Birthing hips are supposed to be a positive thing.
Yeah. I think it if you're science minded, it could be a really great compliment. I don't know.
It is
just feels
science
weird,
minded.
okay?
It is science minded, but it can also be like you like a woman who has big hips. Like the hourglass figure is what is in society, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Tara said it's considered a compliment in Australia.
Yeah.
It is in America too. Like I've heard it tons of times. I'm totally serious. And he wasn't trying to pick her up. Like they were already like
he already
on a
failed
date.
by trying to tickle her.
He did.
Yeah. But you know, weird doesn't mean psycho killer. You know?
Yeah, exactly, Ashley. That's it.
Weird doesn't mean psycho killer.
So. That's exactly what it means.
But yeah, we're gonna keep digging into this 4chan theory. I'm gonna try to look up some other angles too. And
Ian, you're cracking me up. Okay.
But yeah. All right, everybody. I think it is that time. We are going to move over, and we went a little bit longer too, just because this is such a hot topic. It's such a big one. But we're going to move over to the members only portion of this. Hang on, I'll post the link here for everyone. Give me 1 second here.
You should check out that chapter. Are you talking about Green's book? CH? I'm confused. I can't tell if there's a typo there or not. Yeah, sure. Nice butt probably would be a better line.
And for those of you that don't know, that's just where we get a little bit more personal with everyone. So we hop on there and talk directly with the chat because so a while back we got some feedback that people that watch our show, the majority of them aren't actually in the chat. So we try and offer a place where we speak directly with everyone. And then we also offer a place to where we stick to the think tanking, which is what a lot of people like, is that thought-provoking conversation that gets your guys' minds going as well, you know. I just posted our Twitter, you guys. Make sure you check us out on there. It's another place where you can get alerts and have conversations with us and everything. But the two main ones are going to be,
well, thank you for
Patreon and Discord. Sorry.
Thank you, CH, for the suggestion. I'll check it out.
But everyone else, it should pop up when we switch over, okay? So for everyone listening, make sure you guys hit that like button for us. When we head out of here, leave a comment under the video. It does so much, so much. It's more important than even, like, you know, anything money related. So please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, please leave a comment, and so you can come hang out with us again next time. Let your friends know about the 4chan theory, and we'll go from there. But
let your friends know about the 4chan. No, let your friends know about Thought Right podcast.
Yeah, that. But
yes, thanks for.
Go ahead.
Are you actually gonna pull it up? Because you say all the goodbyes and then we just sit here while you are switching.
Yeah, I'm getting into it right now.
Okay. But yes, thank you guys for being here tonight.
I don't know what it's going to do, if it's going to cut off the other stream, but yeah, thank you everybody. We're super stoked to have you here, and we appreciate every single one of you. I'm glad we got a whole bunch of new members. Now that you're members, you can hop over to the next chat, or the next video, which I did post in there. So
we did not intentionally coordinate outfits, but I'm glad everyone likes it. And thanks, Dollyhood. And no worries, Elliot. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate you so much, and for your input, and, you know, going along with all the, you know, thought rioting over here.
Yes, absolutely. We appreciate all of you, and we are switching over now. Hit that like, leave a comment on the way out.
Have a good night. Bye.
And keep those thoughts rioting.
Yes, members, switch over now.